Ice.
Yes.
If we were Michiko and Hatchin, would you be Michiko or Hatchin?
Probably Hatchin.
Honestly, probably. But we all really want to be Michiko.
We all really want to be Michiko.
So today, we're talking about Michiko and Hatchin. The intro is...
Yeah.
It slaps.
It's literally, it's a bop that I didn't know that I wanted.
The style that they set, Cowboy Bebop / Samurai Champloo, like...
Just like old school, like early, like mid 90s anime, like gritty, kind of like
gritty.
Like kind of like Blade Runner-y, like very, I don't know. It had that feel of just like, wow, like nostalgia, very like nostalgic for my like upbringing of anime, because it's like the kind of animation that I grew up on, and it brought me back. I was like, oh wow, this is cool. Like I was just smiling from like ear to ear the entire time. Like it was on for the entire runtime. There's nothing not spectacular. It's very like there's no magic or anything like that. It's like a very like kind of like Cowboy Bebop. Just I don't know. I just, like I said before, like I just was smiling because I related to these characters. I understand what it's like to just not fit in.
It kind of took me aback by how good it is, because it's not a show that I've never had anybody recommend the show to me.
No.
I've never like, I just feel like it has to be flying very much under the radar, and I don't really know why, because it's so good.
Police have identified the woman who broke out of the high security and purportedly escape-proof Diamandra Special Penitentiary early yesterday morning.
Come on, Hana.
Someone is going to come for me. It's what I'd wished for all this time.
Like it's such a high quality production in every way, from the story to the character designs to the music. It feels very Watanabe, which is why we keep mentioning those other shows. But obviously it's not. But if there was like a fourth, like when we talk about like space dandy, cowboy, samurai, if there was like a fourth kind of love child, it would be there, because it does everything that those shows do, but it also talks about femininity and has these really cool female characters that a lot of shows just don't really have, and female characters of color, and talking about these, cultural aspects that kind of weave into the overall story, and it's very immersive. Like it puts you in their world very quickly, and like I said, without trying that hard. It's almost like, from the jump I was invested in these characters, and in a lot of ways I didn't even know why, because like you said, it was like I related to these people so much, even though it's not like I went through the same things that they were going through, but they just felt so realistic to me that I didn't have to try that hard to feel for them.
Exactly. Like it was, this is like a, perfect case of like great writing and very, I don't know. I think for me, especially going with like the people of color, it was one of those shows that when you, like, I was confused. Like I've seen the animation, I never knew what that show was about. Like when I saw the animation like on Tumblr or like maybe Pinterest, it seemed to me when it was portrayed that she was like a one-off character. So how like, other shows will have like a black character, but like you only see them for like one episode. I didn't really know there was a whole show about her. And for me, it was like the beauty of like the drawing of them, like even just like if you really dissect Michiko's character with like her hairstyles, very Afrocentric and very relatable. Like look at all my art clips. My hair is either in braids, it's in freaking locks, or it's in an afro, or it's like not. So it's like realisticness of like always changing up your look, that it's like very subtle. Like your common viewers probably not would notice, but like as like an African American woman, like I'm like, oh my god, I'd be doing the same thing if my hair was in that outfit. Like it was like a very fast, if you really look at it, like it was a very fashionable show as well.
Talking about the showing not telling, there's one episode in particular where Hatchin is like, she meets that boy in that town where they kind of stop off, and I remember there's a part where she's talking to him and she kind of like holds her lower stomach and nothing is said. Like it's just she and Michiko are talking, and Michiko's kind of like poking fun at her about being into a boy, because I mean I remember thinking like this has got to be kind of confusing for Hana, because up until that point she's had such awful interactions with men in general. So it's confusing, and I mean she's young, and like I remember at the end of that episode she does this thing where like she's talking about how it hurts, and I remember like my first inclination was that I was like oh, she like, I mean like heartbreak, and like, you know, there's a lot going on and they have to keep moving and she might never see this person again. But with the way that she kind of like folds over on herself, I was like, I feel like this episode was such a beautiful way of talking about like puberty, and like, I mean, basically started her first period. And so I'm like, that was like something that, it's like you said, they don't say it. You know, this woman who has been through so much, and this girl who's just learning to be a woman, and like nothing is put so much in your face that you feel like it has some kind of agenda. Like it's just people being people and going through life. The director, I was gonna look it up, so I believe her name is Sayo Yamamoto. She is the director of the anime, so it is a female directed show.
That's really cool,
which could have something to do, you know, with how well it handles those issues of womanhood. But also, guess what else she directed? Yuri on Ice.
Of course. I knew you were gonna put that show in here.
So another show that everybody should watch, but definitely two very different shows. But it's cool that she's been in charge of like two critically acclaimed series. It's just, I don't know. The difference is that like I've totally heard of Yuri on Ice, and I hadn't. The only reason why I found Michiko and Hatchin was because we were looking for characters of color.
Oh yeah, to talk about
anime, to talk about
for this month for Black History Month, and that's how we found this show. And I'm glad that we did. I'm mad that it took me like this long, because the show is pretty old.
Overall, so worth a watch.
Yes.
So definitely worth a watch. It's if you are fans of, well, I mean, really the type of shows that we talk about all the time. But you know, if you're a Watanabe fan, it at times feels very much like a love letter to that type of that type of writing, that type of show. So give it a shot. I mean, it's well worth your time. And to me, I think it's the most disappointing part is that I do feel like it should rank up there with some of the greats. Like if I could go back to our most underrated episode, I would change it out change it out for the show for sure.
If I knew, I would have totally put her up there as my waifus, because she is beautiful. 10 out of 10, bitches.
Leave us a like. Leave us a comment.
This up to 50,000 likes.
Stop.
I'm done.
Be sure.
1 like is fine.
Or 20 likes. But yeah, come chat with us in our Discord group. There'll be a link in the description if you guys want to check that out. And as always, subscribe.
We're not keeping that.
Oh yeah, we are.